What are some things that regular people will likely never get to experience? Going to space. Hearing your own music on the radio. Ride in a F-15 doing the speed of sound. A stranger coming to see you perform music and knowing the words to your song. I was going to say being violently compressed in a shady submarine, but that probably does happen. Occasionally. Constipation. Winning the lottery. The odds of winning the lottery are incredibly slim, so most people will never even come close. Even if you do win, the money can come with a lot of problems, such as family and friends asking for handouts. The ability to see sound as different colors. Those people who have that ability blow my mind, and I honestly don't understand how they can function. I feel like it would drive me insane. Being an astronaut. This is an incredibly demanding and competitive career that requires years of training and education. There are only a few hundred people who have ever been astronauts, and most of them are scientists or engineers. The smell of someone bleeding out, unless you're in the medical field or a serial killer. Blood in large quantities has a really overwhelming, nauseating metallic smell. Getting to be on a super yacht. Having what I need and want at the same time. Making enough money to save some. Simultaneous actual happiness and financial freedom. Cutting into human flesh. I'm a doctor. Pain-free days. If I'm interpreting regular people correctly. From my perspective, I see regular people as people who don't have a chronic pain condition. The sensation that is a pain-free day or even a moment is like my whole body gets a vacation. A summer day. Elation. Regular people take painlessness for granted. Personal anecdote, because I like to say I ruined every other date for this girl after working at an airport. We flew from Columbus, Ohio to Miami Beach, Florida for about 6 hours. Took a bus to the beach. Swam. Then came home. I paid less for the plane tickets than she did for Arby's. Seeing the stars without the pollution of streetlights and other man-made lights ruining it. Correctly estimating how long a deer has been dead on the side of the road to decide whether or not it's safe to eat, because there's only so long you can eat rice and stewed tomatoes. I survived poverty and all I got was a stomach capable of digesting car batteries. Seeing tons of people drink your beer. Seeing a beer that you wrote the recipe for, brewed, cellared, and packaged being served in bars and restaurants that happily purchased the beer you made. Standing on stage in a big club, raging with your band and seeing a sea of people banging their heads to your music. Looking down at the people pushed up against the stage and watching them lose it while you launch into your solo. It's a fucking drug. Finding a soulmate. The world's comfiest pillow. I think technology is going to soon get us to a place where every human being will be able to experience everything. And by experience I mean trick the senses to releasing hormones as if it were the real thing. Anyone with a Neuralink will be able to experience anything, including an orgy with 100 of the world's most beautiful women. Neuralink will be expensive at first, but with time it will become really cheap as big companies will want data from the masses. Imagine having everyone's thoughts. So I don't think anyone will never be able to experience anything, at least anyone born after 2000. What it feels like having a very large crowd shouting your name and cheering you. Paying cash for a house. Having to care for a child with special needs. Being a billionaire. There are only a few thousand billionaires in the world, and most of them inherited their wealth or made it through business deals. It is very difficult to become a billionaire through hard work alone. Private jet. Working on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. Hyperfixations. It's more than just having a passionate interest, it's all I can think about or talk about. Some nights I can't sleep or eat very much cause I'm too engrossed in my current obsession. It can make life hard to function, but it also brings me a level of happiness and excitement that I don't get from anything else. Seeing Antarctica. Hosting Saturday Night Live. Being a homeowner these days. Financial independence, unfortunately. Dine with the royals. Or ride a private plane to another country just to have dinner. Being able to afford absolutely anything. I am a 66F. And I would say traveling before influencers. I was a Peace Corps volunteer Paraguay. 79 to 81 my ex and I met working at the Peace Corps office in D.C. And then lived in several developing countries in Central America and Asia working for NGOs from 1985 to 1993. Traveling, especially to developing countries back then, was something of a novel idea that required a bit of courage, confidence, and curiosity. Now it seems that interesting locales are overrun with heat-seeking influencers or cumbersome, clueless retirees. Visiting every continent. Hunting another human. Climbing Mount Everest. Not being worried about finances. Observing an autopsy. Having a group of friends where no one would have a problem fucking each other. Own a prestige vehicle. Fly in a private jet. Eat at a Michelin star restaurant. Buy something in a designer store without looking at the price tag or caring what it costs. Shut down a store for private shopping. Tour the world in one trip. Going to outer space. Going super deep down in the ocean. Always being certain of getting the healthcare they need, at least in the US. Buying something insanely expensive on a whim. Being almost certain not to end up in jail for more than 48 hours on a stupid charge. Having the ability to pick up the phone and call a world leader. Caviar food fight. Flying in a plane and having a view from the cockpit. Not having to work to live. Dying without regrets. Manic episodes. Handling millions of dollars in cash. Retirement. I think a lot of my generation will work until we die. Arriving at a business meeting via helicopter. I was at a private pool with a CEO's family in Vegas. It cost hundreds of dollars to rent a chair there. He rented out the entire private pool for us, with a guard at the entrance. So while the group of us idiots drank in the pool, played chicken, and were super loud, we kept seeing heads pop over the hedges to view the celebrities that had rented out the entire private pool. We waved and drank our 32 ounces Red Bull Palomas. Man, were they all disappointed when they realized it was just a bunch of crayon eaters. Getting discriminated against for a disability you can't control. The sweet, sweet relief of black tar heroin. Having multiple houses. Financial freedom. Extreme fame. Whether it's Taylor Swift or transcends time like Julius Caesar. Living a dignified life into old age. 0.48 BAC. Alcohol is a hell of a drug. Paying cash for a new car. Spiritual enlightenment. Staying the night in a hotel room that costs thousands of dollars for one night. Having the lung capacity of an Olympic-level swimmer. The auditory and visual hallucinations of schizophrenia. It affects 1 in 100 people. Getting into a gunfight in a dark alley trying to arrest a murder suspect. Traveling and living in a big house with multiple bathrooms.